Yeah. All right, so as I was saying, for this session, what we're going to be doing today is looking at different ways you can host your code online so that you can make your APIs available over the internet. Not just APIs, I can also show you different ways that you can host your web pages, your front-end web pages that you build, so that you can make them accessible to different users as long as they are on the internet or on some network. I'm going to be focusing on the internet though. If it is a case where you're trying to make some application available on the network, it will be more or less the same as you just spinning it up on your laptop, and anybody who's on the same Wi-Fi as your laptop will be able to access it using your IP address. What we're going to be doing is looking at over the internet, which would involve, sometimes it would involve using Linux. So Dr. Faulkner is very adamant about you guys learning Linux tools, and the reason for that is a lot of people in the industry, whether it be IoT or just IT in general, corporate IT, it would be good if, depending on the job you have Linux experience, because a lot of the applications that are hosted online are run on Linux servers. Let me see, it was a few years ago where I had a class, and they in the class were wondering what it was about Linux that Dr. Faulkner liked so much. They were under the impression that because they were using Linux, or because they were expected to use Linux, it meant that Linux would have given them some kind of code advantage, or development advantage over Windows. So those students would have like run out and gotten Raspberry Pis, put their code on the Raspberry Pi and started coding on the Raspberry Pi, wondering what would make this better or why is this better, only to find out that it's more or less the same in terms of development, at least from their perspective. There are some people that will argue that Linux is better for development purposes because they have different tools available to them that they don't have on Windows. But at their level and at your level, it's going to be effectively the same. So it's not to say that Linux is better for development, but it's better for hosting, it's better for running your code for different reasons. Linux is typically a more lightweight operating system than Windows. So it doesn't come with a whole lot of bloat and all the branded applications and all the different apps that you don't necessarily need. Like you install Windows and you have games on Windows. Does Windows still come with games? I don't know. Is Minesweeper is on here, right? That's Minecraft, Minesweeper. Minesweeper isn't on Windows anymore? All right. What about pinball? Okay, I guess not. Oh yeah, wait, no, that's not on Windows, that's on web. Okay, well yeah. All the different bloatware that you'd get on Windows, you don't get on Linux, right? So it's usually much more lightweight. And another one of the things that you find, I guess, you know how you're using your laptop and you find that Windows will decide, oh, it won't update. So it's going to restart your computer at 3 a.m. in the morning. If you were to run a Windows operating system and Windows automatically just decided that it wanted to restart at 3 a.m., that's going to take your application offline. Yeah? And it may be a case where if it's set to restart itself after a certain amount of time, or restart itself after the update, it's no guarantee that it's going to restart the application that's running, the application that you launched on your Windows machine. Linux, on the other hand, is a lot more hands-off. It doesn't do the things that Windows does for you. It only does them if you tell it to do them. So if you want to update Linux, you have to specifically go and write a command to tell it to update. Yeah? And after it updates, it will only restart if you tell it to restart. Yeah? It may suggest that it needs to restart, but it won't restart unless you tell it to restart. Yeah? And then you have that other feature where if your Windows laptop is on for too long, you may find that it gets slow, or the RAM fills up, or one of those other terrible things about Windows. But Linux, it's designed in a way where you can leave it on running for an indefinite amount of time and it should stay just running just as smoothly as if it was just turned on for the first time. Yeah? So that's one of the good things about Linux. It's good at running applications in headless mode. Headless mode means, if it's, as you can see on my screen, I have a command prompt. You start your application using the command prompt and just make it run. And you don't even need a screen after that because you're not really looking at anything. The most you'd be looking at is whatever logs your application will be printing. But if you don't need to look at the logs, you can just start your application and then it will just run. So what I'm going to be doing, I'm not sure if you guys have this installed. Some people may have this installed, but there is a application or a system in Windows called not sharing screen. All right, hold on. I was sharing screen at some point, right? It just stopped.
Never.
Okay, yeah. Thanks. So yeah, what I'm going to be showing, let me do that again, is this application or system in Linux called, in Windows called WSL. Right? WSL is Windows subsystem for Linux, where you basically have a Linux virtual machine running inside Windows. So it's Linux inside Windows. That's not the typical way to run Linux. Typically, you have Linux running as its own standalone operating system on the machine. Right? But that's not the only way to run Linux. You can run it in WSL. You can run it in a virtual machine as well. Let me see if I have that installed. Virtual, maybe it's in VMware. Yeah, so you have running it in a virtual machine, you have WSL, and you have running it bare bones or on bare metal. Bare metal typically means that you run it, you install Linux directly to the machine straight. Yeah. But yeah, like I said, you have different ways where you can have Linux installed as a virtual machine, so that's kind of like having a computer in your computer. Yeah. And with that, you'd be able to launch Linux inside of your Windows instance, and you could have two desktops running one inside the other. This virtual machine that I'm spinning up right now, if I'm not mistaken, does not have a GUI. I think it's just the command prompt alone, because I typically use this instance of Linux as a server, where I'll just turn it on, and then I will remotely log into it from a different application called, what's it called? SSH, I guess? But I'll get into SSH in a second. So I have my server starting up, and when it starts up, it asks me for login. At this point, I don't even need to log in. I can just minimize this and go do my work by remotely logging into it. But that's separate. I'm going to be looking at WSL. If you understand WSL and you know how to use WSL, using Linux in general should be more or less straightforward. All right. Questions so far? You guys on the call good? Come again? I'm not sure if you have it in, but try it. So open PowerShell and see if you have WSL. It might be something that you have to install. And if you do have to install it, may take a while. Yeah, Therese?
When we run the Linux on the Ubuntu version,
you don't have to.
Is
it's
robust as the raw method?
Oh, okay. That's a good question. All right. So the question is, when you run Linux in a virtual machine, is it as robust as running it bare metal? So, in my opinion, I think it very much depends on the setup. But one thing I will say is that very often, enterprise corporations will run Linux in virtual machines. So they will have a server, a really big, beefy server that has a lot of resources available to it. And instead of installing Linux directly to it, they will run a system that allows them to spin up multiple virtual machines. Anytime they need a new server, they will just allocate resources to a new virtual machine and then install Linux on that instead. It allows for a lot of flexibility. It's a case where if you have one big server, you don't have to use that one server for one instance of Linux. You can have more than one instances of Linux. And it also helps in the event that you want more than one Linux server, you don't have to buy multiple physical servers. You can just buy one really big server and install a bag of Linux on it in virtual machines. So to answer your question, I believe it is comparable, if not just as robust, because enterprise organizations rely on virtual machines. I would say yes. All right. Yeah. Did WSL work for you?
It's a download.
Oh, it's a download. Okay, yeah. So if you try to run WSL in your command prompt now, it'll probably download. So it may take a while, but it's fine. What I'm going to be showing you, firstly, about Linux is just how to navigate the file system. When I say navigate the file system, you can see it. Is it too dim? Where's the light switch? You can see it, right? It's not dim or anything. All right, so yeah, when I say navigate the file system, what I mean is, so like, I'm going to be doing a lot of comparisons between Linux and Windows just to get you an understanding of what I mean. So if I open one of my Windows Explorers and I go to this home screen here, if I want to navigate into the downloads folder, I'll just click on downloads, and now I'm in the downloads folder, right? But when I'm using the command prompt, there's nothing for me to click. Your cursor is effectively useless. So if I have a folder that I want to navigate into, what I need to do is I need to type a command. So let's use this as a comparison. Let's say, for instance, I want to go into the hard drive of my computer, the hard drive where all the things are stored. This, if you're familiar with Windows, is C:/. That's the beginning of your hard drive. That's where everything is. There's nothing outside of that. So if I wanted to do the same thing in Linux, what I would do is I use the command that is called cd, which means change directory. And then I'll change the directory to /. Press enter, and now I'm in the beginning of my hard drive. Yeah. So a few things to note. This part of my prompt, this entire line here is called the prompt. This here that says Philip, that's my username. And then you have an @ sign, and then you have the computer name. So it's telling me who I'm logged in as and what machine I'm logged in on. So I'm logged in as Philip on the computer called laptop RR whatever. Right? Then we'll have a colon, and then this is where the current directory is, and then we have a $sign. $sign means I'm logged in as a user that is not admin. Yeah? In Linux, that admin user is called root, R-O-O-T. If I was root, this $sign would be a hashtag. Yeah? So this prompt just gives you a bit of information as who you're currently logged in as and where you are on the computer. So right now I'm currently in the root of the, well, I said root a while ago, I don't want to be confusing. Root refers to a user who has admin privileges, and also the root of a directory is the beginning of the directory where everything else lies. So this part of my hard drive here is the root of my hard drive, and then / means the root directory in your Linux hard drive. One other thing to note is that Windows uses \, while Linux uses /. Yeah. Okay, so I showed you how to get to the root of your directory. Now, on Windows, when I went to the root of my directory, I can just look at my screen and I can see a list of folders that I can then navigate into. But in Linux, I don't have anything. All I have is my prompt. If I want to see what folders I have available to me, I need to list all the folders. So I say ls, and I press enter, and that is all the folders and files that are in the current folder that I'm in right now. The dark blue ones, those are folders. The light blue ones, I believe that is a file. Is that a file? Let me see. Can I cd into bin? Oh, I can cd. Okay, I don't know what light blue is, to be honest. I was looking at what dark blue is different from light blue. They're color-coded typically. I'm not sure what light blue means, but dark blue, that is for sure a folder that I can cd into. This green one is an application that can be executed. So it'd be like a program that I can run. I don't want to run it because I don't know what it is. Yeah, so I'm going to leave it. Yeah. So instead of being in the root of my hard drive, I don't want to stay here because if you do something here, it may cause problem for the rest of the machine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my home folder. So here I have home. So I'm going to say cd space home and press enter. Now I'm inside the home folder. Now I'm going to use ls to list all the files and folders that are inside my home folder. All right, and I have a folder called Philip. So similarly, on Windows, if I go to the users folder, that's going to show me all the users that are on my laptop. Right now, currently, it's just the Philo folder, which is me. So that's my only folder. I can go in there and I can see all of the files in my personal home folder. So that's the same thing here. I have a folder called Philip that I'm going to cd into, and that shows all my personal folders. So these are all my folders. I don't know why that says loop.txt. Maybe I was doing some testing or something. But yeah. So this is my personal home folder.
So how it change to a tilde now?
All right, good question. So the tilde now. Tilde is a shortcut for your own home folder. So if it is a case where you are deep into your hard drive in some folder where you have this, that, slash, this, that, slash, and you want to do a shortcut and just jump back to your home folder, you can just say cd squiggly, and that will take you to your home folder. Yeah. So tilde is just a shortcut for your home folder, home directory. Yeah. Okay, and it's a shortcut for the currently logged in user's home directory. So if you notice, I could have, well, all right, let me go back to slash and then go into home again. For ls here, if I had more than one user here, Philip and Jim and John, and I'm logged in as Philip, cd squiggly will take me back to the Philip folder. Yeah, but if I was logged in as John, John would, if I do cd squiggly, it would send me back to John's home folder. All right. Okay, so cd squiggly.
So when you put the slash around, it took back to the...
It took back to this, right, the very beginning. All right. Okay. One other thing that is useful, if you want to clear your screen because it's getting cluttered, you can press Control L. L for Lima. Yeah.
So the question now,
Yeah.
why tilde still show?
Because that's where I am.
And that clear.
No, I just cleared the screen. And when you clear the screen, everything isn't gone. No?
That's the last prompt.
Right, that's the last prompt. But everything is still there. I just need to scroll up. So all I do is just push everything down. Push everything up, I mean. Yeah? So it's all still there.
Is it L?
L? Oh, Control L, it clears the screen. So if my screen looks like this, I press Control L and clear the screen. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. All right, let me close this because it is asking for my attention. I'm just going to turn this off. Shut down. Shut down. Yeah. Okay. Right. So, going back to Windows now. Once again, if I am in a folder, if I want to navigate into a folder that I can see on my screen, I just click on the folder. But what if you want to go back to a parent folder? The parent folder is a folder that houses this current directory or this current folder. I can just click the back button, and now I'm in the previous folder. In Linux, you have more shortcuts for different places. There is a shortcut for here, and there's a shortcut for back behind me. Just like how you have a word for today, different from the word for yesterday. Like if today's what day? Wednesday, and I want to refer to the Tuesday that just gone, which is yesterday, I'll say yesterday. And if I say yesterday, you'll know I'm talking about the Tuesday that just gone, right? And today, I can use the word today if I want to refer to this Wednesday, which is today. So this current folder that I'm currently in is referred to as full stop. So if I want to, for any reason,
but do you know that?
how I know? Wait, how I know?
Yeah, but you know that's what it represents, this folder.
You mean how me personally know?
Well, is it something known? Is it like a standard?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's a standard in Linux. Full stop mean where we currently are. So if I were to cd into full stop, it would just take me back here. I would move. But if I wanted to go into the previous folder, the parent folder, I use cd ... So cd ... mean go back one. Yeah?
Yeah, go back one.
Yeah, and there's no shortcut for going back. Well, there is a shortcut technically for going back two, but it would just be cd ... /.. So that means go back one and then go back one again. So that's
CD1 just means stay the same place.
CD1 full stop just means stay the same place. It means change directory to the current directory.
So it's like, answers.
Technically, I don't think you'd ever really use CD full stop alone or CD dot, but there are other use cases for when you would need dot that I can probably give you an example of later in the session. So for now, let me CD back into home and then CD into Philip. And if you notice something I did on my screen a while ago, let me go back to CD/. So, where am I? I'm going to ls. So I have a bunch of things on my screen. I'm going to CD into home. But let's say, for example, the home folder wasn't just HOME. Suppose it was HOME supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. I don't want to type out all of that, right? Instead of typing out all of that, what I can do is I can type CDH and then press tab, and it should autocomplete, right?
CDH
And then press tab. and it will autocomplete. So if I just type CEH and then press tab, it will autocomplete.
So what if you had a file named house?
All right, that's an excellent question. So the question asked was, what if I had a file named host? So let's do that.
So like even for library of files, right? So
Library.
yeah.
Oh, no, these are both folders. All right, let me try these. So I have lib32 and I have lib64. Let me go back to that folder. Let me ls again. So I have lib32 and lib64. So let me type cd lib, and I'm going to press tab. I press tab all ago, not never. I'm going to press tab again. So the second time I press tab, Linux told me that what you're trying to do is ambiguous, and I don't know what you want me to do. Here are 4 folders that could match the option that you're trying to complete. Me don't know which one, so you need to tell me which one. That is what Linux is saying. So it asked me if I want to cd into lib32, lib64, or libx32, because it don't know which one. So I need to be more specific. I need to tell it that I want to cd specifically into lib32, so I can put a 3 here, and then press tab, and it will autocomplete the 32. And now I can press enter. Yeah? I don't know what this folder is, so I'm scared. I'm going to come out. I'm going to go home. Yeah? All right. Very good question. So let me see where I am now. Okay. All right. Looking back at Windows. I'm going to go into my home folder. I'm going to my downloads folder. Wait, is that? Yeah, that should be fine. Okay. If I want to create a new file, I can right click in the empty space and click new, go to new and go new folder. And I can call it whatever I want. I can hello and press enter, and now I have a new folder called hello. For me to create a new folder in Linux, I need to use a command called make directory, or mkdir. And then I give it a name. Oh wait, I already have a folder here called hello. So I can't call it hello. I'm going to call it hello2. Hello2. So I press enter. And now if I do a list, I have hello and I have hello2. Yeah? So now I have a folder called hello2 because I use the mkdir command. All right, so now I can cd into hello2. So if I type h and press tab, it will autocomplete the hello, but my laptop made a sound a while ago telling me it was able to autocomplete up to a particular point. It doesn't know if I want to cd into hello or hello2. If I press tab again, it makes a sound again. Press tab again, it's telling me I have 2 folders, I have 2 options. Which one do you want? At this point, I can either just press enter and it will take me into hello, or I can put the 2 and then press enter and it will take me into hello2. cd, do a ls, there's nothing in there. It's empty, I just created the file a while ago, the folder a while ago. Right? So that's how you create a folder. cd ls.
The MK thing, I don't know
mkdir.
And that's make directory.
Make directory, yeah. Yeah. So you mkdir to create a new directory, and then you specify the name right after. So I said hello2. If I do this now, I think I'm going to error. Yeah. Can't create directory hello2, it already exists. Yeah. So I'm going to cd back into hello2. Hello2, enter.
So question, can you rename from here?
Okay, yes. I can rename from here. Let me see if I can rename. So I'm going to go back 1, do a ls, so I have hello2. If I want to rename my folder hello2 to hello3 instead, I think I should be able to, okay, this one is going to be a little bit confusing. Renaming in Linux is the same as moving a file in Linux. Because the thing is, when you move a file to a different place, you can tell it, in addition to moving it, this is the name I want you to change it to when it's been moved. So what I can do is when I use move or mv, I can specify that I want to move the hello2 folder, and I want to move it to this current directory with this name. And when I press enter, it changed from hello2 to hello3. So I'm moving it from here to here, where the source is hello2 and the destination is supposed to be hello3. So renaming things is the same as, or rather, you rename things by moving them. You move them with a different name. Yeah? Okay, so I'm going to cd into hello3. ls, there's nothing in there. So if I ls and it just give me back the prompt, that means there's nothing in there. Yeah. So I showed you how to create a folder. Now I can show you how to create a file. Let me see. Creating a file. There are different ways to create files in Linux. You could just, I guess the simplest way is just to create a file and just let it exist. Meaning like you create a file and then nothing else happens. And you create a file by using touch, I believe, I saw? Touch. I think it's a touch and then you give it a file name, so I'm going to say file1.txt. Touch that, ls, and now the file is there. Yeah? So that's just me creating a file with a name.
Sorry, so
Yeah.
the hello tree is a folder and the file one. The .text though, is it something necessary?
The .txt? Okay, that's a fair question. The question asked was, is the .txt necessary? It is not necessary in the same way that on Windows, file extensions are not necessary. The .txt is just telling the computer what type of file type it is.
Yeah, but so I'm saying that, so for example, if I didn't put it, what would it assume?
Okay, it wouldn't assume anything. So if I say touch, let's say file1, and it would just create a file called file1. Yeah.
So the mesh accident because I wonder now if it assume the .txt as the name and not as a file type.
Okay, that's fair. So, all right, the question asked was if Linux will assume that the .txt is a part of the name or if it's assumed to be the file type. If I'm not mistaken, whether you're on Linux or Windows, the .txt is a part of the name, but the computer will look at that part, at the ending part of it, and take that part of the name and treat it as the file type. So it is both part of the name and it is the file type. Yeah? So if I were to go on Windows and I create a file right here, so I say new, and I say new text file. Yes, it will assume the file extension because I said .txt, but what if I replaced all of that with file.jpg? If I say yes, it will turn it into a picture. So the file is now a picture because I changed the name from txt to JPEG. Yeah?
You want to look on the picture there?
Okay, let's see. Okay, yeah, sorry, photos can't, yeah, it's, okay, it's correct. Yeah, it's not a valid picture, but that makes sense, yeah. That's funny. Well, yeah, so that's a fair question. It take the part of the ending part of the file name and it will treat it as its file type.
In this case, if I wanted a PDF, I could name the file one PDF.
Yeah, you could create a PDF. But if I'm not mistaken, I don't think it would behave like a PDF. Yeah. Because PDFs, for example, an empty PDF that don't have any data in it, still technically has some data in it. And that data is what tells the computer that it should behave like a valid PDF. So it's similar to what happened a while ago when I created the picture. It was originally a text file, and I changed it to a picture. And when I tried to open it, it didn't show anything at all. It showed an error, saying that it's unsupported or corrupt because there's no data in the file for Windows to identify it as an empty picture. It just identified as a corrupt file. Yeah. So yeah, let me see, let me delete this. Why is VMware complaining? You can turn off now, good. All right, so yes. And even though they have the same name, file1, they're treated as two different files. The one reason you can know that the two files are treated as separate files is the fact that the two of them exist. You can't have two files with the same name existing in the same directory. So if I created a new file here, touch file1, and press enter, wait, that worked? Oh, I know why that worked, okay. So it didn't actually create a new file. If you try to touch a file that already exists, I don't remember what it actually does. I've done it before. I used to use that work. Like there were times where I needed to make an application restart, and I make it restart. You know, like when we're writing our fast API code, if you save it, it restarts the server. I had an application I was working on that was listening for changes to a particular file, and every time you change that file, it's supposed to restart the application. So in order for us to trigger a change in or a restart in the application, I'll just touch the file, and then it will just make the summoner restart, the application restart. So I'm not sure actually what happens when you touch a file that already exists. But if you notice, it didn't create another file called file1. So that is one of the ways that you can create a file. Another way that you can create a file, and this way might be more useful, is by using a text editor that's built into Linux. You have different text editors. The simplest one, in my opinion, to use is called Nano, N-A-N-O. So it's like Notepad, in a way, where you use Notepad to open a file, you type some text into it, you save it, and you close it. Nano is similar, where I say Nano, and I can either choose to create a new file, file 2, or I can open an existing file. Let's create a new file first. I'll say Nano, file 2, and I'll press Enter. So now I have Nano open. With Nano open, I should be able to just type some stuff, type some stuff, type some stuff, type some stuff, and then I can save it. I can save it by pressing Control. Wait, there's supposed to be controls on the screen. Where are my controls? Oh, that's weird. Okay. Looks like I was really zoomed in for some reason. Okay. But yes, so my controls that show on the screen, they tell me how I can interact with my file. Whether I want to exit the file, search for things in the file, copy and paste, and so on. All right? So if I want to exit, I can press Control X. But now it's asking me, do you want to save? I'll say Y. So I pressed Y a while ago. And now it's asking me, now that you want to save it, what file name do you want to give it? It's suggesting file 2. I will confirm file 2. I'll just press Enter. Wait, Enter. Okay. So I'm outside the file. So that was me editing file 2. So if I go Nano, file 2 again, what it will allow me to do is open the existing file and see its content. Yeah? So I use file 2 and I can still set all the content inside file 2. If I want to exit, I press Control X to exit. Yeah? So that's what I did a while ago. That was me creating a new file using a text editor called Nano. Yeah? Can we do it again? All right. So let me do it again. So I have a new, let me zoom back in. I noticed if I zoom in it, gets rid of some of my UI. So I have a file here called file 1.txt, and file 2. I'm going to create a new file called file 3. Oh, sorry. Let me nano it. Nano file 3. Press Enter. I get a text editor. At the moment, my text editor looks a little bare because I'm zoomed in. If I zoom out, you'll see all the other controls that I'm supposed to have with it. These are controls on the screen that tell me what I can do inside Nano. Yeah? So I type some stuff, type some stuff, type some stuff, and now I can exit with Control X. It asks me if I want to save. I press Y, and then it asks me if I want to use this name to save it. I'll say Enter. So now I have file 3. And I can use Nano to reopen that file and see its content, file 3, and that's the content that was in there. I can go down here and just remove all that stuff, Control X, Y, Enter. Yeah? Okay.
Nano is a keyword to open the file to edit it.
Yes. It's one of the, there are different text editors that you can use. You can use Nano, you can use Vim, you can use Emacs, but Vim is pretty scary. Because you see how simple it was for me to exit Nano, file 3, oops, file 3, and it tells me I can exit by pressing Control X. So I press Control X and I just exit. But when you use Vim, file 3, it looks a whole lot different. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I'm typing stuff on my screen now, and it got rid of the line for some reason. I didn't tell it to get rid of the line, but it's because Vim requires a lot of different commands to allow you to type stuff in the file, allow you to stop typing stuff in the file. How to exit is a whole different thing, and it's a common joke in the developers community. If you want to frustrate a developer, a new developer, open Vim and tell them to close it, and they will not be able to close it because it's not intuitive. But to close it, you can just type :Q. Oh wait, hold on. See that? I press escape first and then press :Q. I can't leave because it's telling me that I made changes to the file and it's asking me if I want to save it. So I have to specify explicitly that I don't want to save it. So I have to say :Q exclamation mark. I have to shout Q. Yeah. So Vim is really complicated.
What's that for? Like, what's Vim for?
It's a text editor for people that know. That's what it is. That's what it is. It and Emacs. It's just people that want to show that they know how to use Linux. Nano is perfectly fine. But yeah. Questions for the guys on the call? Y'all good?
Yes, sir.
All right, let me zoom back in so we can see. Okay, so that's Nano and Vim. If I want to be able to read the content of a file without opening it in a text editor, okay, first before I go into that, let me explain why that might be useful. The idea of reading the content of a file without opening it to be edited. If you have a Word document, docx, that is opened on the machine, how do I explain this? When you open a docx on your computer in Microsoft Word, it creates another file beside the file that is called the lock file. So when it creates that lock file, it makes it so that other users that are also logged into the computer cannot also edit that docx file. I think similar things happen in Linux, where if I try to open this file here in Nano, I think it locks the file to be edited. So if it's a case where you have a file that is being written to by some application, like a log file, if you try to open it in an editor, then the application that's writing logs to it cannot write logs to it, because you have it open. So you would need to have a way to be able to open a file or read the content of a file without opening it for editing. And you can use cat for that. File 3. So that just shows me, it just prints the content of the file to the screen by using cat. Yeah?
So you're saying that it's open right now?
It's not open. It just printed its content to the screen. Yeah. So the file is not open. It would be open if I use Nano or Vim. Yeah.
So in this case, if you use Nano, it's open and can be edited.
You can make the changes, yeah.
But cat is just displaying what?
It's just exactly. It's just displaying the content. Yeah. Let me Nano it again. Add some more text. Save that. Oops. Control X. Oh, I can't see the controls. Different name. Hold on. Control C. This. No. Control C. C. Control X. Y. Enter. Okay. So now I can say cat file 3. And now I can see all the content that is inside the file. All right. There's this other command that I learned about recently. I don't remember why I needed this. For some reason, I needed to be able to read the content of a file. I think it was in reverse line order. So like I had a file that had the first line, second line, third line, fourth line. And for some reason, I needed to be able to read the fourth line first, then the third line, then the second line, then the first. I do not remember why I needed this. So I Googled if Linux had a command that I could use to reverse the line order. And it told me, yeah, just spell cat backwards. Just attack. Yeah, just attack. And it would reverse the line order. And I thought to myself, why would anybody need this? But then I needed it. So, if I need it, maybe about other people need it. Yeah, so just spell cat backwards. It just reversed the line order, yeah. It put the last line first, and so on. Yeah.
But what was the last thing that the DFF?
So see there? So this is cat DFF.
This was the last thing in type.
Yeah, this is what the current version of the file looks like, because I run it with cat, so it just shows me the content as it exists in the file. But if I say attack, it will just print the content in reverse order. It doesn't actually change the file. It just prints it in reverse order. Yeah. I don't know why I needed this, but it made sense in the moment. Yeah. Yeah. All right. I can clear screen. Okay. So, let me see. Is there anything else I need to go into? Do I need any more backstory? Anything you guys can think of? Any questions you have before I get into why we're going to use Linux now? No. Okay. All right. So, I've shown a bit of navigation in Linux. So now I can show you how you could potentially use Linux. It is not to say that what I'm about to show you is the way you should run your code in Linux, but if you needed to, this would be a way to do it. So I'm inside of a folder here now called hello3. And let's say, for instance, I want to create a Python file. We've been using app.py all along, so I'm going to use app.py. So I'm going to say touch app.py and press enter. So now the file is there. Let me get rid of the other files. Oh, I didn't show you how to delete stuff. Use this with caution. Because like I said, Linux It will do whatever you tell it to do. So if you try to delete everything on the whole computer, it will do it. Like literally if I go to cd/ and I said delete everything in here, so it will do it. Yeah? So let me go back home. Yeah. I'm going to show you. See back into hello 3. So I'm here, so I'll type rm, which means remove. And what I can do is I can specify what file I want to remove. File 1. Press that, ls again, and now file 1 is gone. It was here before, now it's gone. Yeah? What if I had a billion files inside this folder I wanted to delete? Instead of typing out all of them one by one, name by name, I could just say rm asterisk. Asterisk means everything. But because of the way I wrote it, it means everything in this folder. It don't mean literally everything. It means everything in this folder. So I'm currently in the hello3 folder. It will delete everything in the hello3 folder. So I press enter. Hold on. Wait, why? Oh, okay. Press enter. And now ls, everything gone. So everything in the hello3 folder gone. Right? Which is fine. I don't know. Okay, it'll be interesting to show you how you could delete everything on the whole computer, but just don't do this. rm, and then you say / everything. So this means delete everything inside the folder name /. Is that
Press enter.
No! No, I'm not gonna press enter. Yeah, that would be catastrophic, that would be horrible. Yeah, so don't ever do that. If you want to try it, install a virtual machine, spin it up and do it in that. And it won't trouble your actual physical machine. It will only destroy the virtual machine. So you can try that. I think technically that actually wouldn't even work because, let me tell you, to delete a file, let me touch a file right here, so file 1. I have a file, and let me create another folder now. So I'm going to say mkdir test folder. So I have a file here and a folder. If I try to rm everything in here, so it's going to give me an error and says it can't delete a folder, or it can't delete the file called test folder because it is a directory. To delete a directory in Linux, you have to tell it explicitly that you want it to be deleted with force. You have to tell it forcefully. The reason why, well, not even forcefully. The reason why is because when you're deleting a directory, from out here, well, it deleted the file. From out here, it does not know if there is a folder inside the folder called test folder. And if there was a folder inside test folder, you'd have to issue a command to delete the folder inside test folder. But what if there was a folder inside test folder? Inside test folder. You'd have to issue a command to tell it to delete that folder too. So it cannot just delete the folder on the outside and know it's supposed to delete the ones on the inside too. So you have to tell it that it must delete the folder, test folder, recursively. Meaning, go inside the folder, and if you see a folder in there, delete it. But if you see a folder in there, so delete that too. If you see a folder in there, so delete that too. And just keep going until there are no more folders, and just delete and come right back up. So that's what I mean by recursively. Do it over and over and over. And I think if I do this, that should work. Yeah? So technically, what you'd want, if you want to delete your whole computer, you'd say rm -r/*, and that delete everything. But I'm not gonna do that. Yeah. But what I've heard is that the way that actually behaves is it will delete everything until it reaches the command on your computer where the delete command is stored. It will delete everything else around that, and then it will delete itself, and then the computer can freeze. I've never tried it, but I've heard. But I mean, you can always just install a virtual machine and try it yourself and see what that looks like. It should be fun. But yeah. So yeah. What was I showing? All right, I'm going to recreate a Python file now. So I'm going to say touch app.py. And I have a file here called app.py. So now I should be able to edit it using nano. App.py. Press enter, and now I should be able to type print. Oh, it has syntax highlighting? That's crazy. Print hello. This is Python. And now I can exit it by pressing Ctrl X, enter. And now if I want to check to see what the content of my app.py is, I can cut it. And now it just has that one line that says print hello. This is Python. So let's run this file now. Similar to when we're in VS Code and we want to install our virtual environment, we use the Python keyword. I can use the Python keyword here as well and just say app.py. Okay, the reason that didn't work, I believe, is because in Linux, it wants you to specify what version of Python. Wait, do I even have Python installed on this? Yeah, I think it wants you to specify what version of Python you want to run. So I think I have Python 3 on my computer, on my virtual machine. Okay, there we go. So if I use Python 3 specifically, it will run the file. Yeah? So this is the output of the file after it printed it. So the one line was print this, I just run it, and it print that. Let me see if I can give you a more in-depth example. Let me nano the file again, app.py, and let me, instead of printing, I will say num1 equal 3, num2 equal 5, print num1 plus num2. And I should be able to print it, and it print 8. Yeah? Oh, one thing I didn't show as well. I think I've shown you this in VS Code though. If you want to go back to a command that you've typed in the past, you can just press the up button on the keyboard, and it will just recall the previous command. And it goes all the way back up. Yeah? Go back to deleting? Oh, yeah. Right. So that is how we could run some Python code. I had to specify Python 3 for it to actually run. So yeah, okay. So that would be a way if you wanted to be able to run your code on in Linux, run your Python code in Linux. But one problem is, let's see. Let me write a simple fast API code. So I'm going to go back into my app.py, and I'm going to delete all these lines with Control K, and I'm going to say import. Wait, can I just copy and paste this? Do I have any fast API code? This should be this. This. Okay, so let me just copy and paste this. I have some stuff I can copy and paste from here. So copy this. And I have this. And I'm just going to copy this. Okay, I think this should be enough for some fast API code. Okay, so I should be able to close this now with Control X, Y, enter. Let me just make sure everything is still in there. So I'm going to say cat app.py, that is the content of the file. All right, and at this point, the same way that you would run, or the same way that you'd prepare your project to be run, you need to do that here as well. So what I mean is, I first need to create a virtual environment. And you create a virtual environment in Windows the same way you create it in Linux. So I'm going to say Python, but instead of just saying Python alone, I'm going to say Python 3. -m, venv. Press enter. It will take a while, just like in something there. Windows. I can say ls, and now I have a folder called venv. Now I need to activate my virtual environment. Activating the virtual environment in Linux is a little bit different than in Windows. So I still say full stop venv, but in this case, instead of saying /script/activate, I need to say /bin/activate. So that's just one difference between Windows and Linux. Instead of venv script activate, it is venv bin activate. So I can press enter, and now I have the prompt at the beginning that says venv. So that's how I know that my virtual environment is activated. So now I can install my libraries as usual with pip install fast API and uvicorn. So this part of the process is more or less the same. Looks the same. This one color. I need to zoom out. Yeah. No? So now I can clear the screen. Let me zoom back in. So now all of my libraries are installed inside of the pip in the venv folder. Yeah. And I can do pip freeze here as well. and it will show me a list of the things that are installed, and I can write that content to a requirements.txt using the same way we did in Linux. So I say pip freeze requirements.txt, enter. Press ls, and here it is. So let's say I wanted to view the content of that file, I can just say cat requirements.txt, and that's it. So these are my files. So now I should be able to run my app.py using uvicorn just the same. Uvicorn app. And I can put on a reload if I want. Wait, wait, why'd that break? Importing app.py must be in the format. I made a mistake, sorry. I forgot how to run the code. It's app : app, no. My mistake. Okay, and now my code is running. So I should be able to.
What was the mistake you made?
I type app.py instead of app : app. Yeah. So I feel like I should be able to go here and say, look, or 127, and then put a 8,000 right here, so. And it worked. So I was able to get the message that I told it to print in the code. It says, message, welcome to my notes application, u/docs to blah, blah, blah. Yeah? So I'm running my code in Linux. But here's the problem, right? If I go so, and I close command prompt, the server is down now. The server is down. Yeah? That's our problem. It would mean then I would need to make sure that my command prompt is always active and open. What is that problem? If there was no way to fix that, then there would be no point in using Linux. Is that true? I don't know, maybe. There would be less of a point to using Linux. Not no point, but less of a point. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how you can run your code in the background so that when you close your browser, it's still running. Not browser, the command prompt. I'm going to back into WSL. Let me see. Well, I still have the commands.
Oh.
Yeah, just press up and go back to them. But I need to go back to my home folder. Go back into the hello 3. And it created the PyCache just like in Windows, like you're used to. ls. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use an application to be able to run my Python code in the background. I haven't used this application in a while, so I don't remember exactly how to go through all the steps, but I can show you. The same way I would go about finding out is the same way that you could go about finding out. So there's this app called PM2. Don't ask what PM2 stands for. It might be process monitor, but I don't know. An app called PM2 that basically allows you to run certain commands, and if it is a command that needs to be kept alive, it will keep it alive in the background, away from the rest of the computer, so that if you close the command prompt or PowerShell, it will keep running. So I need to install PM2. Can I just use this to install PM2? Let's see if this will work. I'm going to press this here. Why can't I paste? Copy and paste. Okay. So I use the command that says npm install pm2-g. Press enter, and it's installing.
Is it spinning?
Yeah, that is spinning. So give it a sec. Okay, so it's installed. All right, so now I should be able to say PM2. One of the things that you would want to do whenever you install a new application for the first time, in order to check to see if it is successfully installed, you'll ask it what version it's running. So if I want to test to see if PM2 is installed properly, I'll say PM2 -v. What?
-v.
Why didn't that work?
V version.
Yeah, it should be V for version, but I don't know why that never work. Hold on. Let me zoom. Should I not have used this to install it? npm install that. That should have worked. Oh no. Let me zoom.
Latest npm.
Yeah, so if I'm here. Let me come out and go back in and see if that works. Quickly. And let's cd into hello. 233 ls PM2 minus V. That didn't work. Hold on. Here's something. When I ran this command, it actually install it. PM2 minus G. That should have installed it. And this typically works. Blah blah blah. Change 133 packages, 13 blah blah blah, funding. Yeah, that should have worked. PM2. Let me just run PM2. Okay, that didn't work. Alright, hold on, let me zoom. I don't know why that never worked. Oh wait. PM2. Exit. Oh, I don't have Node installed. Okay, it looks like PM2 is dependent on Node, and I thought I had Node installed. So I'm going to have to look up how to install Node. Oh boy. Install Node. This is complicated. Let's just go on Node's website and look up how to install Node on Linux in, I guess we can use NVM. Should we use NVM? I guess it wants us to use NVM. Okay, let's use this. So it gives us a list of commands that we can run. So I'm going to copy this first. Copy them one. Run that. So what this is doing is it's downloading an application called NVM, which I think means Node Version Manager. So it's installed now. I can then go here. What does this do? In lieu of restarting the shell. Oh, it needs to restart command prompt. But instead of restarting the command prompt, you can do this instead, apparently. And then I can use NVM to install the latest version of Node, which is version 24. By the way, this is all stuff that you should only have to do once. So once this is all finished, you can forget about Node. So I'm installing Node version 24, because that's the latest version. And it's installing. All right, so Node version 24 is installed. So now I'm going to check to see if Node is properly installed by using -v, and it is installed. The fact that I got back a version means Node is installed. So now I should be able to go back to the command I ran earlier to install PM2. Okay, yeah, that's different. So it's installing PM2 for real this time. Okay, so PM2 should now be installed. I should be able to say PM2 -v. Okay, and it gave me a bag of fanciness. Yeah? So PM2 is definitely installed, version 6.014. Okay, so with that, I should be able to use PM2 to now start my Python application. And I don't remember how to do that from scratch. PM2 Python. Matter of fact, we need PM2 Python venv. So I'm going to see if I can figure out how to use PM2 to start an application in Python when I'm using a virtual environment. So here is the name of my here's the command I need to run. So it says PM2 start app.py. The name, this is you giving it a name, and you specifying the interpreter. So here's the interpreter. I need to specify the path to my virtual environment. All right. I believe, however, let me see. Start app.py. Let me see something. Can I say fast API venv? Because I need to start using Uvicorn. Good Lord. All right, this is a bag of wildness, but I think this is what we have to use. Right, name, blah, blah, blah. All right, let's try this. So let me copy this. I'm going to modify it to match our needs. So PM2 start, venv bin python, -m, Uvicorn. I'm going to change this to app:\app. And I guess we don't really need all of this right now. I mean, it is pretty important. Let me just copy this, put it down here. And check out this. What we need specifically right now is just the reload. -- reload. And I can change the name here to be API. So name is just me specifying that the application inside PM2 will be called API. So this is just me giving it a name. So let's copy this. And I should be able to run it like this. And what that did, it shows me a table of all the applications that I have running in PM2 at the moment. The first one is called API, which is the name I gave it a while ago. And then a bag of other stuff that we don't need to be considering. This one here is supposed to be the number of times the application has restarted. The fact that this is 0 is good. It means that our application isn't crashing and trying to restart itself. Let me just do a check to see if it actually is not restarting. So I'll say PM2 status, and it's still 0. That means it is not restarting. That means it's not crashing and starting over, which is good. It started off using 2 megabytes. Now it's using 22 megabytes. It's weird. All right. So our application should be running, which means even though I don't have anything on my screen now, I should be able to pull up the web page, and it should show me the server. Yeah. And I also should be able to close this, and it should still be running. Yeah, it's still running. I was able to refresh, and it's still there. Yeah. So let's go back into PowerShell, and let's check to see if it's all good. So I'll go back to WSL, cd into squiggly, cd into hello3 ls, and I need to check on my process, so I'm going to say PM2, I go again, PM2 logs? Wait, let's open the PM2 monitor. So I'll type PM2 monit. So I open the PM2 monit. Wait a minute, where's everything? Oh no, I'm supposed to see stuff here. That's strange. Let me check, hold on, let me Control C to escape. And let me see, PM2 logs? No, not logs. PM2 status. Oh, the application stopped. That's weird. Then why is it still running? It's not. That's weird. All right, there's a step I seem to have skipped. Let's see. Did I make a mistake? After you install it, you start the application. Strange. PM2 start, ecosystem start. All right, maybe I need to do this. I think after you install PM2 for the first time, you have to run PM2 startup and then PM2 save. So let me do this just to make sure. So run PM2 startup. Set up a script, copy and paste the following. Do I need to actually do this? Let me just see if I need to do this. Oh no, that didn't work. All right, let me try PM2 save and see what I do. PM2 save. All right, let me start my application now using the command, this command that we used. All right, so it's done. Let's do a PM2 status. It's still there. Let me close WSL, reopen it, WSL, and check PM2 status again to see if it's still there. I hope it's still there. It is still there, okay. So I had to, after I installed PM2, I had to do a PM2 startup and then a PM2 save. That would make it so that PM2 itself doesn't restart when you exit and reopen Linux. So, yeah, CD back into my hello3 folder. No, let me CD back into home first. CD into hello3. PM2 status. Oh, so since I see that my application is still running in PM2 status, I should be able to do a PM2 monit to open the PM2 monitor. Oops, not PM2 monitor. Oh, so I'm actually named so? PM2 monit to open the monitor. And it will show me that I have one application running here called API, and these are the logs. So that means I should be able to go back to my web. Where's the web page? If I pull up the web page here and refresh, it should show me logs. There are my logs. Do it again, there are my logs. Do it again. If I just keep refreshing, it will just keep making logs. I'm refreshing over and over, and every time I refresh, it shows me a new log. Yeah? So this is what I could do to check to see with my application running here, what the status or the status of my application is. If it's running, if I'm expecting to see logs, I can see my logs here. Yeah. If I were to try to navigate to /wool, I guess, it should give me a 404, and the 404 should show here. Where's the 404? Oh, there's the 404. Had to refresh. So yeah, zoom in so you can see that 404. Yeah. So all of the logs that would have shown in your BS code will also appear here in your PM2 monet. If you want to exit out of this screen, you press Control C. Am I lying? It says Control C, so please. Oh no, I can't leave. Okay, that worked. I'm not sure why that wasn't working a while ago. Yeah. If I want to stop the application, I should be able to say PM2 stop and then specify the name, and now it stopped. It was online before, now it stopped. So if I refresh this, it should be gone, and it is gone. If I want to restart it, I can say PM2 start, and it should be up now. Restart, refresh, and it's still there. Yeah. All right. Questions from the guys online? Any questions from you guys?
Move too fast.
Oh, move too fast. Well, you have the video.
No, we like the typing.
Oh, okay. No problem.
But no, yes.
You'll have the video. Just put on times 0.5 speed. Is there any part of it?
Yeah, CD to this and
Yeah. Any part of it you want me to do again since I was going fast?
hey, whenever you get to install this, but like from the top of the PowerShell again.
Top of the PowerShell? Come again?
Yeah, just from the top of the PowerShell.
From
Where jobs. Yeah.
Oh. So WSL you know it already. That's how I open up WSL. PM2 status is just for me to see if I have any currently running applications in PM2. So this line here is just showing that I have one application which has an ID of 0 called API. I gave it that name when I was starting the application for the first time. Some of this stuff, either it don't matter or I don't know what it means, like I don't know what namespace is. The version is something that I think you would specify. So like I think I could have specified what version of the application I'm running, but because I didn't specify any version, I just put NA. The PID is a process ID. Process ID is something that the operating system needs to know. So like if it's a case where like you go into Task Manager and you want to kill a file forcefully, you could kill it by using its process ID. Uptime, that's just how much time it has been online for. So the first time I ran PM2 status, it had been online for 22 seconds. The second time I ran it, it was online for almost a minute. I had stopped it, so the uptime was down, or uptime was 0. And I turned it back on, uptime was 0 seconds because I guess I ran this status. I started it. So the uptime had been 0 seconds because it showed me what the uptime was since I started it, which would have been no time at all. If I do it again, go down PM2 status, 2 minutes. So it's been awake or alive for 2 minutes since I turned it on. It is not using any of my CPU, or it's using very little, and it's using 23 megabytes of memory. And the user is me. And watching disabled means that it's like when you have -- reload. If a file changes, it restarts the application. The watching is currently set to disabled so that it does not restart the application when a file changes.
So just it's status.
Yes, that's
So that when I would just choose status. What
the memory, the amount of memory it's using on the computer. Yeah. One thing I do want to show as well, though. Let me see. Is this something that would be important? I think so. So the way I used my command to start the application, when you're using a production environment, meaning when you're installing your application to the environment that you actually want to run and have customers use or people use, you would remove the reload. Because you wouldn't want it so that it restarts the application if the app.py changes. You don't want that to happen. You want the server to be up and stay up at all times. So in a case like that, you remove the reload. I do think, however, you would want to specify the host, because it's.
But if we remove the reload, that means every time we update something, we have to run it back. Or we are assuming that this is in a perfect condition.
Exactly. So you assume it's in perfect condition. Yeah. So that's why you don't want it to reload. It is not supposed to be a case where you make changes to the server or the app.py while it's on the server. If you need to make changes, you make changes on VS Code on Windows, and then you push to GitHub. As a matter of fact, I didn't even show that. How you'd actually get your code in Linux in the first place. So ideally, you would not want to open a new file like I did and then type the code in that file. Instead, what you'd want to do, let me kill PM2 or kill the application. So PM2 stop API. Okay, so it stopped. So here's what you do in a real life situation. You wouldn't create a new file and then write the code in the file on Linux. That is terribly tedious, and you don't have all the shortcuts and fanciness that VS Code gives you. So let me delete everything that I have in this folder, firstly, because I don't need it anymore. Actually, instead of just stopping PM2, I'm going to delete the application. So now it's not in PM2 anymore at all. So I'm going to delete everything that I have here. So I'm going to do a rm -r everything, and that should delete everything. All right, so I'll start from a blank slate. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually use Git or GitHub to copy the code from GitHub into this particular directory. So let me see if I can find a GitHub directory like this one. No, this one. Yeah. Did I make a change to this? I remember doing that. No matter. Let's go to GitHub, go to repository. So I'm going to copy this code that I have here. Or not copy the code, I'm just going to clone it by using this green button. I'm copying this line. And then I'm going to go into into Linux now. Let me zoom in. I'm going to say git space clone. And then I'm going to paste that link that I just copied a while ago. And I'm going to press enter. What that is going to do is it's going to go onto GitHub and it's going to find that repository and it's going to download it here into Linux. ls, and then there's my folder. So this folder is the same as this folder. Yeah? So now all my code is here on Linux. So what that means is, if at any point you need to make change to the code on your server, you do not make the change directly on the server. I need to switch microphone 1 second, because it's about to die. Tell me. Can you still hear me? Yeah, you should be able to hear me still. You can still hear me, right? Guys on the call?
Yeah,
Okay. Did the quality change, or you still hear me just fine?
same thing.
Okay, cool. All right. Yes. So if you need to make a change to your server, you do not make the change while you're on the server, meaning you don't go into the file and use nano and change the file there. You make the change on your machine in Visual Studio, in VS Code rather, and you push to GitHub. And then when you're finished making the change and you can verify that the code has been changed on GitHub, then you'll go into your directory that the code is stored in after you cloned it, and you will say git pull and press enter. Wait, am I in the right place? Oh, I'm in the wrong place. I need to cd into fan ls, and now I need to do a git pull. So git pull will pull all the recent changes that were made. Let me make a change to the code and show you what the changes.
Here's a question.
Yeah.
In the case that you make like the whole server on Windows and you want to run it on Linux, you could have just still have it in a VS Code, push it to the GitHub, and then pull it from the GitHub to Linux.
Yeah, that's right.
So we wouldn't need to bore the whole as we did discuss all the time.
I'm not 100% sure. It's something I probably need don't think I needed to a while ago because I was able to run the application from inside Linux. So maybe I don't need to. I think you needed to do it because you needed to connect to a
database.
Right, yeah. That's something we'll probably need to revisit. So I'll get back to you on that. Okay, so let me see now. Right, so let me make a change to the code here on my Windows machine. And I will just say this, hashtag, this is a useless change. And I'll commit this to GitHub. I made a useless change. And I'll commit this and push to GitHub. All right? So before I show you how to pull the change on Linux, I'll show you the current version of my code. So this file is called index.py, and on line 10 there's supposed to be a hashtag. Let me go into Linux, and let me do ls. Here's my index.py. I will cut index.py, and you'll see that I don't have that change. After this line here, I have the app equals, but here I have this, and then the comment, and then app equals. So this is an old version of the code. So I will update it by using git pull, and it will show that there was a change. There was a change made to index.py, and there were 2 additions. The 2 additions were, in addition to this line, I think there was an empty line that I also added. So that's 2 lines of changes. So now if I do a cut, you'll see the change. Yeah? So you don't make direct edits on the server. You make the edits in Visual Studio Code on your Windows side, then you push to GitHub, and then you go on Linux and you pull from GitHub. You use git clone to create the folder for the first time, and then you go into the folder and you do a git pull to pull changes. All right? So with that,
So basically, we just use the Linux just to run it.
that is correct. You only use Linux to run the code. You don't use it to edit the code. You don't change anything. You don't write any code. You only run it. All right? Okay. So now that I have my directory, I can go in and I can create my virtual environment. And one of the things I've been telling you guys is that you do not commit your virtual environment. I just noticed I have 4 files here in VS Code, but I only see 3 in Linux. The file that's missing is the git ignore. And I'll tell you why it's missing. It's missing because it starts with a full stop. In Linux, any file that starts with a full stop is going to be hidden. So it's not to say that the file is not there. It is there, it's just hidden. If you want to show hidden files, you say ls minus la, and that will show all files. So I have, in addition to my .git ignore, I also have a .git folder. Yeah? This .git folder is created when you do a git clone. That is how GitHub knows, or Git on the computer knows that it is a Git repository. It creates a folder and stores some information inside a folder called .git. Do not delete this. But here is the file called .git ignore, and I can cut .git ignore. And there's some stuff in there. Just like here. Wait. Oh, okay. Yeah, the 3 things are here. It's just that it put the last line in line with the prompt. Yeah. So there are 3 lines here, 3 lines here. Okay. And in addition to it showing the hidden file, it also shows me some information. Like I'm the owner, how big the file is, when it was created, and what time it was created. Yeah. Okay. So ls. Okay, right. So you don't commit your virtual environment folder, and the reason you don't commit it is because you can always recreate it on Linux. Since I have my requirements.txt, I can just use that requirements.txt to get a list of all the different libraries I needed by using pip install -r, and this -r means something different from when I was doing the rm earlier. Wait, does it? What does -r mean? Hold on. What does the -r mean in pip install -r? it might mean the same thing. I thought AI would tell me. Tell me. What does the minus R mean? Oh, it stands for requirements. That's lame. Okay, I thought it was going to stand for recursive, but it doesn't. Anyway, so I do a pip minus R, and you specify the name of the requirements file. So this is you telling pip install where the requirements are. I'm saying that the requirements are inside this file called requirements.txt. Press enter, and it will just open the file, look at all the stuff that are inside. Wow. Oh, ja. I need to activate the virtual environment first. So Python minus M, venv, venv, ja, Python 3. All right, so now I have my virtual environment here. So I activate it now by saying full stop, venv, what's going on? Venv in v, oh, /bin/activate. Now it's active because I have this here. Now I can say pip minus R requirements, and it will install all the things. Okay, so now it's done. So now that it's done, do ls, and I should be able to run my PM2 command now. And I'll run my PM2 command in a way that is more production ready. So instead of using the --R, let's change this to API. Let's make it more explicit. So fan light API. So telling PM2 to start it, I'm telling it what version of Python to use. I'm using the version of Python inside my virtual environment. And I'm going to start up Unicorn, the same way that we know, typically. I'm going to change this command here from app:\app to index:\app because my Python file is called index.py. But you don't have to call it that if you don't want to. You can call it app.py as normal. This now, host 0.0.0.0, makes it so that the application is exposed to the network that the computer is connected to. If I'm not mistaken, I believe if you don't include this particular line, it will only make the application available on the computer that it is running, and it will not be exposed to any other computer on the network. But I believe you have to specify host and then put 4 zeros so that it will be exposed to all of the machines on the network that your computer is on. And then the port, I would have explained what port is. If it's a case where you want your application to run on a different port, then you specify a different port. If you want 8000, then it's okay. I think you can just take this out. But I think there are some hosting services, or at least in the past, there were some hosting services that would have preferred that you run your application on port 10,000 instead. Oops, 10,000. Jaja, what happened? Oh no, insert, where's insert? Or 10,000, right. So yeah, the application, or rather the hosting service that I use now called Rendo, it used to require that you run your application on port 10,000, but it's not a requirement anymore. So you can just leave it at port 8,000, which means you should be able to just take this out and it will be fine. But if for any reason you need to specify the port, you can do that. So I can use this command now, copy this, and I can run my application. Why not paste? Did I copy it? Copy, paste, Oja. Make sure that you don't have this part here. Get rid of that. And now, with that, get rid of this thing at the end as well. Don't need this squiggly. Press enter, it should start my application. Yeah. So my application is started. Let's check to see if it's good by using PM2 monit. Enter. There's my app. Wait, it errored? Oh no, why did it error? Let's see, PM2 logs. Okay, so here's my error. Oh, there's no MongoDB. Okay, well, that's just an error that you will be able to find on your own by using PM2 logs. So, if you have some other errors in your code, you'll be able to look and see what the errors are by using PM2 logs. Let me just check PM2 status again. So Control C to escape out of this. PM2 status again. Yeah, it says errored. Yeah. And it's restarted 15 times. If I run it again, still 15 times, still 15 times, still 15 times, yeah. So the fact that it's restarted 15 times means it keeps crashing and it's trying to recover itself. But it is unable to recover itself, so I need to stop it. PM2, stop, fan, light. Can I just say 0 since it's ID 0? Yes, I can. ID 0, so I just say 0. So ideally what you do is you're going to your code on VS Code, fix that error, and then restart it. Or rather, fix it in VS Code, come back to Linux, git pull, and then restart it in PM2. Yeah? But yeah, this error that I'm having now is a trivial error. Questions? Man the call?
No question.
No questions, all right. So yeah, that is one approach that you could take to running your code on a Linux server. The process is more or less the same regardless of what Linux server you're running. So whether you do it on WSL or a virtual machine or an actual Linux server. By the way, if it matters to you, the version of Linux I'm using is called Ubuntu. So Ubuntu. So Linux has a bunch of different flavors. I'm using Ubuntu. And you choose your Linux operating system depending on your needs. Ubuntu is a pretty user-friendly one. It's, I would say, one of the easier Linux operating systems to get into because it's so user-friendly. You have other Linux versions like Fedora. Oh, not that one. Linux. There we go. You have Linux Fedora. You have Linux Mint, which is also a very user-friendly one. But Linux Mint, I believe, is almost exactly the same as Ubuntu. Typically, people use Linux Mint when they want to have a desktop that looks similar to Windows. People typically don't use Linux Mint if they want to run it as just a server, meaning it's only a command prompt. What else is there? There is Linux Red Hat. Yeah. Red Hat is a enterprise Linux environment. So like if you are running a business and you need a very super solid, stable and secure operating system, more than likely you're going to want to pay for Red Hat. But let's say for instance you want something similar to Red Hat that is adequate for enterprise technologies, but you don't want to pay for it. Instead you use CentOS. CentOS and Red Hat, I believe, are, if not the same, they're very similar. The difference being Red Hat is paid and CentOS is not paid. There has to be a difference otherwise, I just don't know what it is. Was there also Mandriva? Mandriva? Yeah, I have no idea what Mandriva is. My IT teacher back in high school used to always talk about Mandriva. Never used it. It looked ugly, so I'm not going to use it. Yeah, there's also Yellow Dog. I don't understand why this exists. I don't know what it's for. I don't think there's any reason for you to use it. But yeah, if you can't choose, if you don't know which one to use, just use Ubuntu. Yeah, and by all means, stay away from Gentoo. Yeah, so don't use Gentoo. One of the common jokes in the Linux community is that if you can install Gentoo, then you're ahead of the rest. Just being able to install it alone is a skill that you can put on your resume, basically. Yeah. Questions?
Say again to install.
What is it? Gentoo install? What do you mean?
My resume I put again to install.
Oh, yeah man, you can absolutely put, if you can install Gentoo, you can put that on your resume. Because it is, apparently in the community, they consider it one of the most difficult operating systems to install. It's not a case where you have a a wizard or a graphical user interface that you can just click next, 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 next. You have to do everything manually yourself. You have to type out everything, type out all the commands. You have to specify how much hard drive space you want to allocate to the operating system and all kind of foolishness. But once you get it done, you feel like a genius. I've never done it before, I've never tried doing it before, and I will probably never try doing it. Yeah. But if you want a challenge, you have a holiday coming up this Friday. If you don't know what to do, try installing Gen 2. Yep, so that's where we're going to stop for today. I did say I was also going to show you how to host web pages, and that's something I can show you in 1 minute. I use Netlify. So Netlify is another online hosting service that you can use. You could, if you wanted to, host your web page on Linux. And you know what, to be honest, I feel like Dr. Faulkner would prefer if you hosted your web pages in Linux as well. But if there's no requirement for that, you can always use a service called Netlify, where you go here, you click Add New Project, and you can either connect a repo from GitHub, or you can just take your files, your web page files, and just drop it right here, so in this box, and it will serve your files for you. And it will give you a domain that you can use for free. Yeah, like this one. Oh, this is the Fanlight thing that I was using for the API. So I wrote this last year, I think it was last year, where you use these two switches to control whether or not a light on the circuit is on or off. Why do I keep doing that? So this one controls the light and this one controls the fan.
Yeah, we can add more than one switch to this thing.
You have to write the code to do that. But I can make the code available. It's on my GitHub. You can just go on my GitHub. My GitHub is here. It's just IRPL, and the file is called Fanlight Client. So the Fanlight API that I just installed on Linux is this, and then this is the client, which is the website that you have access to, because everything is public. And there's my code. So if you want to add more switches, just copy and paste this div, I think. Is it this div? This is a checkbox. I don't remember where it goes. Just ask Claude to do it for you. It'll do it. Yeah. There you go. So that's it. Today's Wednesday. What are we gonna do tomorrow? I'll figure out something. All right. So yeah, that's it. I'll end it here. Any questions? No questions? All good? All right, cool. So you guys can look out for the final lab this Friday. Maybe I'll post it tomorrow. But yeah, that's going to be the last lab that we do. We'd have also already done the mid-semester. Then we have labs. So the last thing after labs that we need to focus on is the project, which is not going to be terribly difficult because I know you guys have your capstone working on. It'll just be one big lab. If you understand how to do all the labs that we've done so far, then the project should be simple enough. And you can simulate it in Wakui, or you can buy the parts from me. Just let me know. If you want to get parts, you can pull up my site, stores, stores, and you can not buy the parts because I don't take online orders. Oh, I did add the pictures. Matthew was suggesting that I add pictures to the items to make it easier to use. So yeah, you can just pull up this, add this stuff to the cart, and I should get a notification to say that you have made a purchase. And when you do, I'll just bring the parts to class and you pay me. But it's not mandatory. You can
How soon we can buy this?
If you use it now, I'll bring the parts tomorrow.
So you know the parts. So
I'll get a notification for the stuff that you buy.
Yeah, but instead, you remember it's for the project and you are giving us the PC, or selling us the PC. So just create a package and price it.
Oh, I think, let me see. Wait, this is it. Wait, no, it's PCB. Where is it? There's supposed to be one here. Programming class. Right there. I might have taken it off. But there was at one point a listing here that just have everything in it. Oh, you know why I didn't do that? Because I didn't want to make it so that you have to buy everything in the kit, because some people wanted the box, some people never need the box, some people already have temperature sensor, some people never do that. So if I made a whole kit, it would assume that you want to buy everything in there. And so, yeah, I never did that way. Let's make it manual, so you can choose what you want.
Just. Alright, one question. For the terminal blocks that we have done here,
Yeah.
this can fit in any 2.5 or that other dimension. Any 2-pin hole we put on a PCB.
Let me check that right now. I think so. So it won't be 2 consecutive. Oh, let me tell you. I think it should be able to fit technically, but the pins aren't long enough for it to stay securely in the breadboard. So if you
No, not on the breadboard, man. On the PCB.
Oh, on the PCB, yeah, it's the pitch is regular 2.5 millimeter, I think.
Yeah,
Pretty sure.
I need some of
On a
them.
perf board, it should be able to fit in a perf board. Yeah, it will definitely fit in a perf board. It's designed for that.
Yeah, I know for that project.
Oh, all right.
But man, you probably could have just put them together and tell her the price. Man, I have none of the components, so that's what I'm saying.
Wait, what do you mean?
That probably is a resistor.
Yeah, just add them to the cart and it will tell you the final price. Is that what you want? What do you mean? I don't understand.
Yeah, wait. What you have a list of what we need?
Yeah, I need
So
to.
we can go on and order.
I can post that.
Alright, do that. And then we see what we have on.
All right, no problem. All right. Yeah, so you can look out for that list. I'll post it. I'll see if I can post it today or tomorrow. All right, cool. So tomorrow, if anything, you can look out for any messages in the WhatsApp group.